So Don, we have multiple layers of IVA Pro on this table. Can you kind of walk me through what we're showing here?
Absolutely. One of the challenges that we've always had with trade shows is how to really tell the story of real-world interactions in a meaningful way. And so what we decided to do for this show was to scale everything down and make those interactions feel real by using this IVA Pro Suite table.
Okay.
So we're showing multiple different analytics on this table, but right now we're going to focus on our IVA Pro Perimeter and just talk about what the difference is between our traditional IVA AI-based Pro buildings versus Pro Perimeter, which is a layered approach.
Okay, sure. Let's take a look.
All right, so perfect. So when we come over here and we go back to our traditional IVA Pro buildings, which is our 2D, I know what a person is, I can classify that right away, and we have our person walk through that fence line, we get our trigger, we get our automated voicemail, and we're good to go.
Please leave immediately.
The problem is now, as soon as we try to obfuscate or hide ourselves,
please leave immediately.
When we have that person come through, they simply don't exist for that 2D detector because it's looking for a person, and an obfuscated person is not a person, right?
Correct.
So what we've done with IVA Pro Perimeter is actually layer AI analytics and our background subtraction to create a layered approach that really creates a robust perimeter detection. And when we enable that, you'll see immediately the difference is, of course, our person going through the fence absolutely still creates the detection as they should.
Please leave immediately.
When we run our hidden person through that fence line,
this is a restricted area.
You'll see
Please
here,
leave immediately.
A trigger happens immediately. We detect
this is a
that.
restricted area.
And the other side benefit is we can now filter out nuisance alerts.
This is a restricted area.
So for example,
please leave immediately.
We bring our deer into the scene and we have no detection because we filtered that out.
And I know from just my experience, but maybe everybody else should be aware that IVA Pro Perimeter initially still required some calibration, and not that it doesn't, but it's a lot smarter. Can you kind of highlight how we're tackling the calibration piece of perimeter?
Absolutely. So in Configuration Manager, we've actually moved to more of a wizard-based calibration that really simplifies that whole procedure. So you're not required to do a lot of measurements in the field and try to figure out angles and things like that. To begin with, all of our cameras, of course, have that MEM sensor in them that gives us the pitch, the tilt, the roll. Our cameras also have auto-varifocal lenses, which tell us the lens configuration. So really, we're just putting in the height and maybe a couple of reference person heights in a scene to get really accurate three-dimensional detections, and that's it. IVA Pro Perimeter calibration is maybe a 30-second procedure per camera.
Which really is a differentiator from what it used to be. Saves a lot of time, which I think what was maybe preventing people from using it is often is the amount of time going into commissioning systems, when you have multiple cameras to do that takes a lot of time. We've really streamlined that process with IVA Pro Perimeter to secure the outside.
Absolutely. So one of the other things that we're showing at the IVA Pro table is our PPE detection and workplace safety. So here we have a couple of different scenarios. We're actually highlighting our PPE detection to showcase that somebody who's wearing their hat and their vest is of course getting a green, they're good to go, they can enter the site. If I've got a hat but I'm missing my vest, I'm not allowed on. And of course, no PPE, no access at all.
Perfect.
As well, we've got a guy who's moving into a dangerous area, and when he's under the lift, we can automate a message to create that workplace safety awareness. When we move to the middle section, we're doing a couple of the different things in here. One camera is focused on our IVA Pro traffic, but not in an ITS scenario, in more of a commercial security sort of application where we're looking at granular understanding of vehicle traffic, but in a more traditional security-based approach. And then the second camera is using our IVA Pro appearance to provide meaningful metadata about people in that area so that we can get really good forensic searches based on that metadata. And in the last section in the office building, we're doing two things there. We've got one camera which is doing IVA Pro appearance as well. And what we've done is actually have a person appearing in the building and in the parking lot, and you're able to do a forensic search and find that person in both those places because that person exists based on that metadata. And then secondly, we're doing our IVA visual gun detection with a figure who moves into the building with a brandished weapon. Of course, we're getting that detection, and then we're playing an audio message as well.
So what it sounds like to me, Don, is you guys have really secured, from an analytic perspective, from perimeter to the interior of the building and all the way through, with forensic searchable, usable data that users can quickly access through a forensic search tool like with BVMS or other partners.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you very much for walking us through this. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.